All right, it is Thursday, October 13th. We're full of brand and community conversation. I'm welcoming my good friend and special guest, Ben Hadley, to talking about Elon's new Musk, Carvana in Michigan, and whole lots of brand stuff.
Let's go.
Dude,
are we bringing the bounce back for my guest appearance?
Hey, look, yeah.
I love
sometimes we bounce. Sometimes
it's been here and there, though.
It's here and there. You know, sometimes we just got to get into it because things are happening. Lots of things are happening. Paul's out of office today, hanging out with his fam. I got to do that earlier in the week. Just a couple of we got to go through the housekeeping things, just tick the things off. We're going to be, if you haven't heard, at the Modern Retailing Conference, the newly branded Brian Pash event here in just a month. I think, Ben, you're going to be there too.
Absolutely.
Which will be really cool. And so we'll be in Palm Beach, whole lot of different sessions. We're actually hosting a creative track, which is for creatives and those that want to coach creatives and walk through, what does it look like to do good creative in dealerships. We've got incredible people like Ali Pinion and Nathaniel Greklick going to be there and coaching through just what it looks like to create content for different platforms. We've also got an Auto Collabs episode today with two NADA teachers, and so Michael Lukey and Matthew Volmers will be on there. But goodness, we got some stuff to talk about today, and I'm really excited about some of the stories. And we said this, Elon's new Musk was kind of how I rolled that front. But let's go ahead and get into it. So Tesla, I don't know if you knew this, Ben, but they are a car, tunnel, social media, solar, space, internet, charging, roofing, media, and now, last but not least, a perfume company.
That's crazy.
Elon announced that his company, The Boring Company, which is actually a company that has that is responsible for, if people have been to Vegas, they might have been through the tunnel. That was a big thing that people were headed to last year at NADA, and they're basically cutting down the ability for tunnels to be made by 1/25 of the time with this new technology that they have.
Still a tunnel though. Just let's throw that out there. It's cool, but it you're like, yo, what'd you do? And we're like, yo, check this out. What if we put people underground? You're like, yeah, we call those tunnels. You're like, yeah, I know, man. This is going to be revolutionary. Tunnels, revolutionary. Yeah. Well, the last time that the tunnel company did something that wasn't tunnels was back in 2018. They actually sold flamethrowers at $500 a piece, and sold and they've also sold hats. They sold 50,000 Boring Company hats. So they're kind of like this company, as all things, Elon go. They're kind of half retail, half, company doing something else. And so they announced that they are selling $100 per bottle perfume called Burnt Hair. Which, if you're looking at it, you can see it right now. It's kind of like this red bottle that has smoke around it. It's the two little quotes, like the retail quotes are, it's like being over a candle at dinner table without all the hard work, or stand out in a crowd, get noticed as you walk through the airport. So what even is happening in this world? He's literally, it's almost, I think he took a challenge upon himself. What is the worst smell? How could I measure my brand? Right? One way is to say, I wonder if I'm so innovative as a brand that I can dig holes under the earth and call it innovation. And everybody's like, yep, we'll give it to you. He's like, damn, what if I took the worst smell ever, bottled it up? Would people also, and he's like, you know what I mean? He's taking it's the hardest things.
Yes.
And then, and somehow getting away with.
Well, because product is not, my kind of note on this is, product is not the reason why people buy or subscribe to anything that Elon / Tesla / whatever he's doing does.
Right.
It's not based on product. many of the products are great, solar roof shingles, the vehicles that they're selling. Like the product is a strong product, especially like the lead products, not these like perfumes and flame blowers and hats and, merch and stuff like that. And I mean, they're sending people to freaking space, for goodness sakes. Yeah. But when brand is greater than product, sales doesn't really have to get involved. Yeah. Right. Because like there was no like marketing campaign, Instagram, Instagram blast feed in order to get $1 million worth of burnt hair perfume sold.
Yeah, I mean, I think about this like he's doing everything in the reverse, which is like normally what you do is you go, okay, marketing and sales budget, let's segment the market. Let's advertise to that market and then iterate and optimize. And eventually you have this like, hopefully hyper awesome audience that loves whatever you're doing. And you create long lifetime value customers out of that. And he's just like, no. The best a audience can ever become, like the most optimal audience is just a community. So let me start the community first. And then the downstream effect is listening and just making cool stuff that they like.
Well, it's interesting because then like, even if whatever the thing is that gets created is outside of kind of the stream of conscious of that community, as long as it's close enough, right?
Totally. Yeah.
It's still, the community is still attracted to it.
Right.
So like perfume is kind of outside of that community. Like it's a tech community. They're attracted by like new tech trends or anything like that. So it's slightly outside enough, but because it kind of has this funky brand to it, this kind of like early adopters brand, it's close enough to the community that people are drawn in. I think this is important for anyone that's trying to build something of value right now. Like you can pivot your entire business to be based on this. I was actually watching a clip of Patrick Abad this morning at ASOTU that we posted. And he was just saying like, if you're not caring about how your customers are becoming community in order for retention, then if not now, when? Like,
totally.
Because, well, it's a recession. Oh, we're doing great. Whatever it is, it's just, that's the ultimate sense of like whether or not your brand has staying power.
I literally, dude, I was at a paint store. A woman came up to me, this is like a few weeks ago, and just said, "Hey, is that your Tesla in the parking lot?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, I have one too." And I was like, this is so odd. And I'm sure like Jeep owners probably go through the same thing because they have like the Jeep Wave and like, like, oh dude, like
the duck thing.
Lifted it, whatever, like especially Wrangler owners.
Yep.
But it was my first experience of being like, and then she was like, "Oh, you're not on the local Tesla community email list?" And I was like, "There's a local Tesla community." And she's like, "Oh, I'll add you." And I was like, this is wild. Like, what other, I've never seen.
Never in automotive, but this is interesting. I'm a big soccer fan, and the reason why we did the soccer scarves at ASOTU was because there's a lot of similarities that we're trying to draw to like the soccer community.
Totally.
Actually, early on so Nashville Soccer Club is now on MLS, so that's the top tier of soccer in the US. Early on in Nashville soccer, it was 2014 that it was just an amateur club. So it was like crowdsourced.
Whoa.
And basically, if you saw in Nashville at that time, football club, FC, magnet, t-shirt, anything like that in the community, it was an immediate conversation. And most likely you actually knew the person, right?
Yep.
Like that's how tight the community was. Now that expands as community becomes like a larger brand play, you now just have affinity because like there's a central source of agreement, right? And this is what like most great communities are built on, is that there's a central source of agreement. So, the central source of agreement with the Tesla brand is Elon Musk. It's based on a person, right? It's based on that person's impetus and their brand. Yeah. He's the lead singer.
It reminds me. So Blink-182 just got back together for a reunion tour. Super pumped. I'm like diehard fan. And it reminds me of that too. It's like
differently.
How many text messages I get, dude, it's like,
yes.
the band's back together, the community's back together too. Like, anyways.
Well, hey, look, before we get to the last thing, I just want to throw this up. We just want to, like, as ASOTU, we want everyone to know that we're actually the purveyors of everything in the world at this point. We're actually the new Simpsons. So look at this image real quick. This is from April 1, 2022. This is in an email that ASOTU put out. We just want everyone to see this real quick. If you're not watching, we'll throw it up. Isaac, do we have the image? Do we have the image of what we threw out there? Oh man, please tell me we have the image.
Oh, dude,
he's probably struggling for it at this point.
You're clickbaiting everybody. You're gonna.
I'm clickbaiting. I'm getting everyone. Well, look,
we'll post it in the comments later.
We'll post it in the comments on April 1st. We actually gave everyone the option for 267 billion referrals to the ASOTU email. We were going to give people Elon's Musk. So that's actually, if you go back, if you get the ASOTU email, go look at your April 1st email. We actually predicted Elon coming out with perfume.
No
Boom.
Way.
Got him.
That's crazy.
Crazy. All right, let's keep rolling. I don't have a segue for that. Oh, there it is. Look at that. That was in the ASOTU email. There it is. There's the image. Musk by Elon. He didn't call it that. That's okay. We'll give him burnt hair.
Should have.
All right, we're keeping moving. Carvana is leveraging consumer trust to actually regain their Michigan sales license. So if you weren't following last week, Michigan said, Carvana, out because of title implications and paperwork and things that weren't getting to customers, too many customer complaints. And just, I think it was yesterday or maybe Tuesday, Carvana customers in Michigan got an email asking them to, quote, support keeping Carvana and online hassle-free car buying available without interruption in Michigan. Now, this isn't the first time they've done this. Actually, when they got kicked out of Illinois, they sent out a petition, got over 6,000 signatures on that petition with customers saying, no, keep them in business, keep them rolling. And they are saying like, hey, we're being singled out because of an antiquated process that actually makes it hard for us as an online retailer to serve customers. So this is actually a customer issue that we are not responsible for, but that antiquated process that they're for. What's crazy to me here is that they are leaning on public opinion of their brand to garnish a change in legal opinion.
Yeah, like I would say, just because it's relevant, right? Like if Tesla was in the same situation, 70 million fucking signatures, excuse my language, right? Like it would be bonkers. And so I can kind of see a contrast there. Like 6,000 signatures isn't nothing.
Right.
But
in a single state, right? Like they just sent it to that state's customers.
But I never really think of Carvana as a community, or like I've never really seen people be like, oh dude, like, yo, you're a Carvana buyer, so am I. It just doesn't. It's more.
No, it doesn't work like that. But I do think that it works in a way that like people are like, oh no, that's the way that I do and will buy cars. And if that's not an option, then that's bad for me as a consumer. Like, because the buy-in when you get to that point isn't just, oh, they had the car. It's they had the process and then, oh, great, they had the car, right? Which is opposite from a lot of auto retailers, which is inventory drives sales and not brand. And they've gone at brand drive sales, and inventory is a benefit to the consumer that they have a
drive sales, but or process drives brand, but
process, whichever, their process drives their brand, the way that they communicate their brand. But that, like, I was just thinking, like, let's just say the local DMV is like, man, that Toyota dealership can't get their stuff straight. None of their titles are ever right. They can't get customers, licenses in under 60 days. We're just going to shut down their ability until they get caught up. What would happen if that dealership reached out to their customer base? Because some of these, some of these larger groups, like they've got 1 million or 2 customers in their database. Like, how would those customers respond in that moment? Like, would there be like a line of customers at the DMV being like, you better make them be able to do business?
I don't know.
I don't
think so. I can't see it. It's like, Maybe for some select dealerships out there, but if we're talking broad strokes here, probably most of them would be on their own, right? They would they'd be like with the pitchfork, let's go get them, and then nobody's behind you.
So how do like individual rooftop dealerships, because Carvana has the benefit of having a wider regionality even at the state level in a consumer base. How does a dealership or group of dealerships start to move toward that? Like, how do we get there?
If you look at I think Damien Boudreau talks a lot about this, which is your competitive advantage is your local localness. Word, right? And so it's like if anybody's equipped to make a really potent community, right? It's actually harder, I think, to do at a national level than it is you're talking about the Nashville MLS football club, right?
Yep.
Okay, super local, right? You're walking, all of that becomes way easier. And I think we just have to move away from just a bumper sticker or a license plate thing as our signature of yeah, I bought a car from,
I'm a part of that. Yeah.
John Jones Toyota, whatever it is. And really make it more about we're at the local events. We're the schools, the Boy Scouts, the whatever, really make people feel that impact, because then they'll get addicted to that and they won't want that removed. Right. Yep. And you see the dealership as a vehicle
for community benefit.
Yeah. For community. Yes. Yeah. 100%.
Yep. Well, speaking of getting addicted,
segue.
Many people are addicted to Starbucks, at least many people that I know, and specifically the caffeine that comes along with it. And Delta recognizes that fact. Just yesterday, a day after Dunkin' Donuts changed their rewards program and got a little flack for it, Starbucks and Delta have come together and said, hey, look, we're going to offer reward and loyalty benefits across our ecosystems, signing a partnership to give Sky Miles as well as Starbucks stars to consumers that purchase or take activities within each of the loyalty rewards programs. To entice the customers to join the partnership, members who link their accounts between now and December 31st will earn an additional 500 Sky Miles. Now, that's just for linking the accounts, which is pretty wild. And after joining and making only one Starbucks purchase, they will accrue 150 stars, enough for a free coffee. So if you never, here's the thing, this is so cool, because if you never do anything with this, but you're like, I got a Starbucks account and a Sky Miles account, you can get 500 Sky Miles, get a drink, and get another. It's like buy one, get one free, basically.
No, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
But also, I'm guessing there's way more Delta diehard Sky Miles people that have Starbucks accounts than any Dunkin' Donuts. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
They are so key on their target market with this, in the ideal customer profile.
Well, you know what's interesting is, well, one, just the fact that these are massive brands with massive amounts of people in their loyalty rewards. And so one of the notes was a big reason for this decision was not just it's that they want to understand customer behavior, because so much is tied to the purchase behavior, the travel behavior, how people are interacting with these brands that are closely aligned. It's interesting, in the Nashville airport, this is crazy, this is anecdotal for me, but in the Nashville airport, the Southwest and American terminals that are primarily those two, obviously they've got a bunch in each terminal, but the two terminals that are primarily that have the majority, actually all of the coffee shops in those two terminals are local coffee shops to Nashville. Three of the top Nashville coffee shops, the premier ones that people in the country kind of know about, right?
Yep.
So those are in those terminals. In the Delta terminal, the only available coffee shop, which pisses me off when I have to go to Delta, is Starbucks.
Wow.
Right? So they already know their target customer. It's not like they haven't done this research already and already connected those two ideas. Is Delta customers, big brands, stream of conscious, speed, right? Probably Starbucks customers. Connect that in airline terminals. Okay, connect that offline. for people and start to like be in their minds more often. It's like if you fly Delta all the time, what are you going to do? Stop at the gas station or Starbucks? Now you're stopping at Starbucks. End of story. Right?
Well, you're also like, I feel like the Delta customer is like way more business oriented. Like, you know, like I used to be diehard BTV, Burlington, Vermont to Atlanta, and then in wherever else. So I was super diehard Delta. And, you know, so you're like, but you're always going to a new place. There's not really consistency in their schedule. Right. The only consistent thing would be a Starbucks coffee, right? Because they're everywhere.
It's wild.
So it totally makes sense. Crazy thing. I mean, personally, this is instant coffee. This is like a sin in Vermont. Like you're supposed to be drinking like really like great, you know, whatever. Yes. So maybe it doesn't completely apply to me, but genius.
Well, it's genius. And I think that, you know, you and I both know there's a guy in that's trying to press into automotive with like a thing called the Gas App card, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you find more ways to be in front of your customer in things that keep them sticky to your brand? So like gas cars, right? Easy move, right?
Yeah.
Even coffee, like local coffee. Some of the companies some of the dealerships that I know that don't just like bring in the, you know, whatever it is, you know.
Yeah, dude, like, if you're going to try to do the local community thing, you come on, easy. Hey, the craziest part about that is like, you can't live in America. It's harder to live in America without a car, right?
Right.
So the connections there, like gas is easy, but what about tourism? What about,
there's so
you know, like,
many.
Yeah.
It's like whatever you're doing, you're probably doing it associated with the car. So find the one that makes most sense for your community and build community around that. Well, if you haven't figured out, we're kind of brand people. We're kind of community people. And we feel like if car dealerships lean into those things, they might have a little bit more staying power. So, you know, go lean in. Lean in.